Qinfeng first looked at the skill book. Blood Art Mythic Assassin passive skill. Damage to targets in the bleeding state increased by 5%. Required level 30 plus 7. It looks like a simple skill, but the effect is not simple at all. As long as the target is in the bleeding state, the total damage will increase by 5%. This is another independent damage multiplication area. Due to the influence of the Witch Follower Pendant, the attribute level of this skill has increased by 7 levels, equivalent to the attribute of level 37. Otherwise, the basic value should be around 40%. Moreover, this is not evolved. Just now I thought the damage level was not enough. Isn't it here? But for this skill to take effect, the target must first enter the bleeding state. For Qinfeng, using Ruthless Cut can make the target suffer high bleeding continuous damage. But as long as instant destruction is used, the bleeding continuous damage will be directly settled. So, in the current output cycle, we need to add a Ruthless Cut. Qinfeng glanced at it. The basic cooldown time of Ruthless Cut is 8 seconds, and the current cooling speed is 1014. 72% when standing on the street, with the 20% basic cooldown reduction of the Witch Follower Livia's Tears. The final cooldown time is 57 seconds. But if it is in the state of full overload, Qinfeng's cooling speed will have to be increased by 1000%. The final cooldown time is less than 3 seconds. As for the skill of Instant Kill, it is a finishing move, has no cooldown time, and only consumes 50 combo points. With the skill of End Mark, Qinfeng does not need to worry about the lack of combo points. So, Instant Kill is equivalent to Unlimited Release, 1000 Blades Break, Ruthless Cutting, and a Shadow Blade in between, and then Instant Annihilation. This combo lasts about 3 seconds in total, and the total damage is more than double that of a simple 1000 Blades Break plus Instant Annihilation. And this combo can be repeated infinitely if calculated by DPS. If facing countless legendary undead isopod, then Qinfeng's DPS is enough to reach 10 billion. What does this number mean? Among other player groups, 10. Xiaozen DPS is considered a relatively high-end player at present. But such players need 1 million together to hit the same DPS as Qinfeng. A high-end player with 10 Xiaozen DPS needs to output continuously for nearly 12 days to hit the damage Qinfeng hits in 1 second. Qinfeng outputs for 1 minute, and he has to output for nearly 2 years. And the most terrifying thing is that if this damage is placed in reality, it is not just damage, but represents the energy level. In reality, the higher the damage, the stronger the destructive power. Although the damage multiplier of buildings or the environment cannot be increased by bleeding or backstrike, Qinfeng's Shadow Blade is enough to penetrate any defense facility in the world. If the attack range is relatively large, it can even cause tsunamis, earthquakes, hurricanes, and other natural phenomena when it falls on the sea or the ground. This is the energy level that Qinfeng has. If the game and reality are completely integrated, this ability will also be reflected in the attributes or skill columns in the form of entries and special effects. But at present, Qinfeng cannot check how powerful his ability in this regard is. It can only be roughly estimated by the damage magnitude. Most of my skills are a single target damage. No matter how high the energy level is, the impact on the surrounding environment is relatively limited. This is also in line with the purpose of assassination. Qinfeng didn't think too much. After learning the skill book of Blood Donation Art, he spent 1 thousand evolution points to evolve it to the Ancient level. Blood Art Mythic Arrive, Ancient increases damage to targets in the bleeding state by 43. 5% Arrive 65. 25%. Required level 30 plus 7. Ancient level new special effect, it can also cause an effect equivalent to bleeding to units without blood such as skeletons, buildings, shields, etc. Qinfeng looked at the Ancient level effect of this skill and was a little confused. What the hell? Forced bleeding. No, skeletons don't have blood. What comes out? Bone marrow. What about buildings? Spray out the powder in the wall. In one word, awesome. Qinfeng never expected that there would be such an expansion. It's worthy of being called Blood Art. Then there were 30,000 evolution points. Qinfeng thought about it for a while and chose to evolve Umbra Perception. Originally, Umbra Perception made Qinfeng's anti-stealth ability better than. His own stealth level is still high, and after seeing through the target's invisibility, he can directly apply a 100% stripping effect to the target. It can be said to be the nemesis of stealth units. Let's see what the effect is when it evolves to the Immortal level. Umbra Perception was originally legendary, and now it has evolved twice to the Ancient level. The third evolution requires 30,000 evolution points, which is still quite difficult. After all, the evolution points of killing a legendary boss are not enough for 1 evolution. Go! Umbra Perception, Ancient Arrive Immortal. You gain an anti-stealth level that is 6 levels higher than your own stealth level in real time. Minus. Mythical effect after seeing through the invisible target. The damage to the target is increased by 60%, Arrive 80%, lasting 30, Arrive 40 seconds. Ancient effect. After seeing through the invisible target, a fixed 100% stripping scale is added to the target. During the stripping period, the target will completely lose vision, hearing, smell, touch, and taste. New effect of Immortal level. You can sense the existence of any target. This kind of perception is not affected by any obstacles and ignores the target's stealth level. After the evolution, Qinfeng found that the effect was not bad. This is the keen perception that an assassin should really have. You can sense the existence of any target, no matter how high the opponent's stealth level is. You can sense it, and it is not affected by obstacles at all. In other words, I can sense it directly, even if there are countless walls between me and the opponent, or it is buried deep underground. The evolution points are gone again, but the harvest is not bad. Qinfeng closed his eyes and felt it a little, and found that he seemed to have a kind of perception out of thin air, which was completely outside the five senses. He could feel the flow of the surrounding gas, the outline of all objects, and even after closing his eyes, his perception of the surroundings was clearer than seeing with his eyes. This perception ability gets weaker the farther away from me, but the farthest I can sense is more than 80 kilometers away. This perception distance should be related to the agility attribute, but beyond 40 kilometers, Qinfeng's perception is obviously much weaker and cannot be 100% clear and accurate. This is the real perception skill. Qinfeng couldn't help but sigh. The evolution of this skill directly raised his perception ability to the extreme. Cool. Then, Qinfeng looked at the pair of mythical assassin boots in the greedy space. This thing will also make Qinfeng's speed even higher. Originally, Qinfeng's shoes were the epic Power Clown Sonic shoes. Qinfeng even strengthened it just now, unexpectedly. This legendary undead isopod directly gave him a pair of top quality shoes. Too real. Do you have to wait until I strengthen this pair of shoes and use some materials before giving me a replacement? Qinfeng was powerless to complain. It's just like playing online games before. There is some embarrassing equipment that I want to change, but there is no good replacement. So I reluctantly spend materials to make it. As a result, the materials were just thrown in. A better base material came out. Fortunately, my strengthening stone is equivalent to free. Qinfeng felt a little better. Looking at the pair of mythical shoes, Anzime, Death Terror, Mythic movement speed plus 120 amps, movement speed plus 120%, agility plus 640, spirit plus 640, aura switchable. Reduce the basic attack power of all surrounding units by 30%, effective twice for undead creatures, required level 30. Special effect terror. Every time you are attacked, 10% of the maximum value of the attacker's inviolable affix will be eliminated. Fuck! Qinfeng's heartbeat accelerated when he saw the special effect. Here it comes. Eliminate the inviolable affix by percentage. This thing, whether in PvE or PvP in the later stage, is all a magical skill. Qinfeng actually has very strong control skills, such as the Abyss Slow Curse, which has evolved to the ancient level, but it is useless most of the time, because the inviolable affix on the legendary boss is tens of thousands of points. Even if it is the ancient level Abyss Slow Curse, it can only offset more than 100 points of inviolability affixes when used once, but if it is a percentage elimination, then, as long as the boss attacks Qinfeng more than 10 times, it means that the opponent's inviolability affixes can be cleared, and he can be controlled. Slow, silence, immobilization, etc. However, boss below the myth level does not seem to use this function. Qinfeng smiled. Legendary boss, at this stage, basically treats the symptom and can be killed in seconds after the mechanism is dealt with. But when facing a mythical boss, this special effect will be very useful. In addition, the basic attributes of this pair of shoes are also very good. The basic speed of 120 meters per second is not as good as the speed of sound shoes, but it also adds 120% percentage speed. The equipment that can increase the speed of movement is basically only shoes. So the shoes, plus the percentage speed of movement, will significantly increase the speed of movement. Originally, Qinfeng's fastest basic speed was 268 meters per second. If he wore Sonic shoes, it would be more than 600 meters per second. But now, wearing this pair of Anzime Death Terror, Qinfeng's speed is 220 at 120% at 83, 6 meters per second. After comprehensive calculation, the speed is faster than Sonic shoes. The most important thing is, with the immortal level Umbra perception skill that has just evolved, my actions will not be affected by the limit of perception. Originally, the agility attribute affects perception and reaction speed. If the speed is too fast and the agility cannot keep up, then the action is likely to go wrong. Brain go forward 100 meters. Legs run 500 meters directly. Similar effects will often appear. Generally speaking, if the additional speed exceeds 50%, this problem is likely to occur. The higher the additional speed, the longer it takes to train to get used to it. But with Umbra perception, Qinfeng has gained a new means of perception. The inconsistency between speed and perception will no longer exist in Qinfeng. Remember that there is a pair of legendary assassin shoes in the storage box of the Evil Spirit Academy. The special effects of that shoe are good. You can peel it off and hit this pair of mythical shoes. Qinfeng changed a pair of shoes. Then he took out the White Bud Blade and checked it. This weapon now has a soul of Sister Lee collected in it. Through this soul, Qinfeng can check her thoughts and memories at any time. Anyway, it will take a while to fly back, so Qinfeng simply checked it. Soon, Qinfeng rode in Osirios and returned to one of the hills in the Sichuan ruins. This is one of the hiding places of the Shu Daoshan Guild. This time, Qinfeng took the initiative to deliver goods to them. After the official purchase of the weekly Thief Saint Charm, there are still some left, just in time to deliver them. When I saw Qinfeng again, the girl who said, "I don't eat bamboo," came to greet him on a panda, and her eyes lit up when she saw Qinfeng. Wow. Shadow Pot. You've become more handsome again. Qinfeng's eyes under the mask were a little unhappy. What do you mean? I wasn't handsome before. I don't eat bamboo, there is no most handsome. Only more handsome. This girl is quite lively, and Qinfeng is in a good mood every time he meets her. Soon, both parties completed the transaction happily. Then Qinfeng mentioned before leaving, by the way, I'll give you a list of 12 female players. Do you have a place in your guild? Take them in and take care of them. What Qinfeng said was naturally the 12 beautiful sisters trained by Sister Li. By checking Sister Li's memory just now, Qinfeng already knew why Sister Li appeared there with these 12 beautiful girls. After all this time, it turned out to be a gift to him. Each skill is trained very exquisitely. The key is that their combat power is not strong. And because of Sister Li, their families are basically broken up and their lives are miserable. Although Qinfeng can't give them a home. But it's still okay to let the Shudoshin Guild take care of them. Otherwise, with their looks, they will probably suffer more soon. 12. So many? The bamboo girl's watery eyes opened wide, and she looked a little surprised. Qinfeng immediately said, don't get me wrong. I rescued them from the hands of human traffickers. They have nowhere to go and no ability to protect themselves, so I can only hand them over to you. I will give you a 95% discount on the future stealing Saint Talisman. I don't eat bamboo, okay? I got it. After explaining, Qinfeng took out the teleportation stone and went home. But what he didn't know was, after he left, the bamboo girl immediately posted an announcement on the guild channel, Mu Yanyan, Gulu Lingbo, and Xiaoran, bring some people with me to find the 12 sisters. Bring them back and settle them down. Don't have any stupid ideas? You idiots. They are all women of Shadowpot. Do you hear me? A loud voice suddenly came out on the guild channel. Okay. The ruins of the Demon City, the School of Evil Spirits. It was a bit of a pity when Qinfeng came back. Sister Li's memory is only for this life. It's not a big crime just to hook up with Qinfeng. If there is memory of the previous life, then judge her soul as well, and the gains will be too great. No way. Qin Xiaoyu's memory of the previous life was saved and sent back by a Shaxisi. This Sister Li doesn't have that treatment. Qinfeng sighed and didn't think much about it. After all, people's memories of their previous lives can only be seen from the reincarnation temple. It is conceivable how difficult it is to get people's memories of their previous lives. Ashasis kept his memories and preserved Qin Xiaoyu's memories, which probably consumed a lot of resources. The memories of other irrelevant people are unnecessary. At this time, Qinfeng was in the storage box on the second floor of the basement, searching for the pair of shoes he wanted among thousands of pieces of equipment. Osiris and Grey Chicken were beside him, laughing. Grey Chicken, I'm awesome. As expected of the Emperor, he actually knows how to let others raise women. It's great. Really great. Osiris, it's normal. Those sisters are too delicate and not durable. It's more cost-effective to let others raise them. Grey Chicken, no. Then the Emperor must be getting stronger faster than them. Isn't it less and less durable? Qinfeng listened to the two guys talking and had the urge to strangle them to death. But before he could find the shoes he wanted, Wanya Weiyu suddenly sent a private voice chat master. Master, this time, the Sichuan and Ice City officials have decided to award you the Guardian Medal, and you will also have a lifespan of 10,000 years? Qinfeng replied, oh. It's no wonder that he didn't react. No way. I'm used to it. Also, someone in Sunan City is currently taking the lead in condemning you. Master, Wanya Weiyu thought for a while and said in order to ensure that such things will not happen again in the future, our official has some measures, and I hope to hear your opinions. Sunan City. Condemn me. Qinfeng was a little surprised. Condemn me for what? Wanya Weiyu said embarrassedly. It's the Winged Man NPC of the Tower of Divine Power. There is a female player who seems to be the president of the Winged Man NPC's fan club, saying that you killed the NPC for no reason and want to seek justice for the NPC. Don't worry, we will handle this matter properly. Qinfeng was a little speechless, as expected. Those Birdman fans still made trouble. Who told them that Birdman is dead after I killed him? You want to see Birdman, right? Okay, I'll send you to see him. Qinfeng sneered inwardly. Think. Then he said to Wanya Weiyu, it's okay. I will handle it myself later. And I will make sure they are convinced. It just so happens that Qinfeng plans to go back to the Judgment Land to ask Ashashi about the White Bud Blade's application for Soul Connection. Isn't this just taking some materials for the Judgment back? Qinfeng was not in a hurry about the things in Sunan City. He spent some time to find the pair of legendary shoes he was looking for in several large storage boxes. The attributes of the shoes themselves were average, but the special effects were quite good. Qinfeng used 3 stripping stones in succession and finally stripped the special effect off, and then merged it into the mythical shoes he had just obtained. So, under the pair of mythical shoes of Anzim Death, there was another special effect. Additional special effect, Despicable Thorn, back attack damage increased by 160% from Sniper Chain Boots Legendary. This special effect increases the back attack damage. Of course, because Qinfeng originally had this damage multiplication area. This damage increase is additive to the original back attack damage. Now the legendary back attack enhancement skill increases the back attack damage by 180%. This shoe has a special effect of 160%. That's 340% in total. Originally, the Killer Starblade also had a 177% back attack damage bonus. But unfortunately, this weapon was replaced by Qinfeng. But the impact is not great. After all, The replaced Whitebud blade has a greater improvement for Qinfeng, and when Qinfeng stripped off the special effect, the legendary Sneak Striker chain boots were destroyed. But Qinfeng didn't care. He brought all the equipment he got in Sichuan and Shu to the Thunder Ferry. Come, no need to say more. Qinfeng happily started the process of exploding equipment again, and Sister Yuan also took on the responsibility of clothes hanger conscientiously. The ability she possessed was a blessing to Qinfeng. No matter what equipment or weapon she equipped, she could equip it, and then Qinfeng could easily destroy it by opening the equipment, crushing rules. Hey, your damage is higher, and the speed is faster. During the process, the Kite Fairy quickly discovered Qinfeng's changes and was surprised, even in her cognition. Qinfeng's improvement speed was too fast. Now Qinfeng's equipment is faster and more powerful than before. And Qinfeng's harvest was also quite good. After getting hundreds of thousands of equipment points, he directly began to strengthen the newly acquired mythical level Anzim Dead Terror. Finally, after consuming this batch of equipment points, the special effects of this pair of mythical shoes have also been strengthened to a good level. Special effect Terror each time the attacker is attacked. It will eliminate 10% arrive time, 6% of the maximum value of the attacker's inviolable affix, strengthening range, 12% to 15%. Additional special effects, Despicable Thornback attack damage increased by 160%, arrive 280%, enhancement range, 180%, 220%. The special effect value of this pair of shoes is that if others attack Qinfeng 7 times, its inviolable affix will be completely eliminated. And Qinfeng's back attack damage increase has reached a total of 398%. Not bad. Thank you. Sister Yuan. Qinfeng thanked her and turned to leave. Looking at Qinfeng's departing back, the fairy sister who had returned to a black robe smiled, and her lavender eyes were full of expectations. With his current improvement speed, he will soon be able to go to the land of order. If he develops for a few more years, he can sublimate the entire civilization with his own strength. From Qinfeng, Wen saw the hope of leaving. She raised her slender right arm, spread her 5 fingers slightly, and touched the gray gauze wrapped around her other eye. Seeming a little melancholy, I don't know how many reincarnations I have been trapped in this civilization. Qinfeng came to the ground area of the Evil Spirit Academy through the teleportation array. He was teleported to the ruins of Sunan City. The scale of this city is similar to that of Zhanghai City, which is smaller than that of Demon City. Although the population is only a fraction of that of Demon City, the total number is tens of millions. When Qinfeng teleported here, he remained invisible. No one could see that the death wings behind him spread out and flew hundreds of meters high in an instant. Looking down at the dense crowd of players below, some were trading, some were teaming up, and they were divided into different areas. There was no expression on Qinfeng's face. He slowly closed his eyes. Through the new perception ability that he had just evolved, he began to feel everything around him. This perception ability, it's really a bit like the divine consciousness mentioned in some immortal cultivation novels. Qinfeng still finds this new ability quite novel. After all, he didn't have any similar abilities in his previous life. It can be said that in terms of perception, he has far surpassed his own previous life. Ruins of Sunan City? In the ruins area, some level 10-15 monsters will be refreshed from time to time. But now these monsters are rarely killed when they are just refreshed, but are driven and gathered together. Then let some players who are not yet level 15 come to kill them. So in the ruins, there are some monster gathering places in many areas. Those are specially driven together by some guilds to train new members of the guild. Of course, there are not so many new members at this stage, mainly some players who have just become adults and have just entered the game not long ago, or some elderly groups with weak combat capabilities. With such upgrade channels, the upgrade speed will become faster. In Qinfeng's perception, the amount of information in the entire ruins is simply explosive. If the mental attribute had not been balanced to the same level as agility, Qinfeng would not be able to accept such a large amount of information. Even so, Qinfeng felt like his head was about to explode. It seems that it is quite difficult to activate this perception ability in the urban area. Qinfeng mainly screened the information related to him. Soon, he focused his attention on a gathering place of monsters. It was an underground slaughterhouse where hundreds of monsters gathered. This place is currently under the jurisdiction of a guild called Shunhuo Nuan, which is also one of the top 5 guilds in Sunan City. At this moment, a group of players who are not yet level 15 were arranged here to kill monsters. In order to facilitate their actions, Shunhuo Nan Guild also specially sent a team of high-level players to help control the monsters here. And these players who are not yet level 15, a total of 20 to 30 people. Among them are students who have just turned 18, both men and women, of various professions, and each of them has excitement on their faces. There are also some gray-haired old people, who are not very agile even if they have reached level 10. In addition, there is a group of female players dressed brightly. These female players, a total of 7 or 8 people, are somewhat out of tune with the others. Although they look not young, their demeanor and temperament are quite elegant. At first glance, they are the wealthy wives who live a good life, let your husband fight hard outside, and then sit back and enjoy the fruits of his labor in the safe zone. Housewife. Qinfeng quickly learned the identities of those female players through the information he sensed from the vicinity, and learned. It is these female players who are spreading the condemnation of the shadow in the small group. Their professions don't look bad either. If they work hard, they can keep up with their husbands, not to mention the first echelon. But they are too lazy to go out and fight. They have nothing to do every day. Sit back and enjoy the fruits of their labor, and directly eat the lifespan of their husbands. The key is they are actually fans of that Birdman. If their husbands knew about this, wouldn't their husbands be furious? Qinfeng knew that after the godforsaken game came, a considerable number of players still could not change their original living habits, especially the class that originally had a superior life. It was even more difficult to invest in the environment of fighting and killing outside. On the one hand, they felt that they were not capable enough. On the other hand, they felt that fighting and killing like this was very cheap. At this time, Qinfeng was sniffing the chat of the group of female players in the team channel through perception. Although their voices in the team chat would not be heard, but as long as they use voice chat, their mouths must move. Even if they are more than 10 kilometers apart, Qinfeng can sense the mouth movements of each of them through the shadow perception, and thus know what they are saying. Hear it. There are a total of 8 female players, and their husbands are all high-level members of the Shunhuo Nuan Guild, and they are very powerful. They are indeed housewives, mainly responsible for taking care of children at home. When they have time, they go online to kill some monsters assigned to them. There is even a special combat team that takes them to the Tower of Divine Authority to take the Book of Divine Grant, just to make it more convenient when taking care of children. And this also allowed them to come into contact with the Birdman NPC in the Tower of Divine Authority, Wingman Kalanster. Moreover, they were attracted by the NPC's elegant posture, thinking that he was very gentlemanly, and became a fan of the NPC. The leader of them was codenamed Nendi Alice. It's a pity that my husband is too weak, otherwise he would definitely take down Shadow. Do you think that all our husbands together can beat Shadow? It shouldn't be possible. After all our husbands together can't beat the Diamond Boss, and Shadow has killed many epic and legendary boss. No, are epic and legendary boss really more difficult than Diamond Boss? The diamond ring on me is worth more than 500,000. Diamonds are so expensive, and Diamond Boss must be the most powerful, right? Let me tell you this. What is your diamond? I have an authentic Van Gogh painting at home. This epic work is hundreds of times more expensive than your diamond. Stop arguing. The most critical issue now is there really nothing we can do for Mr. Kalanster? He was brutally killed by Shadow. Alas, Kalanster, Mr. is such a gentleman. Especially when I bought the Book of Divine Gift, he knelt down and kissed the back of my hand. Oh my god, my husband has never been so romantic. To be honest, I originally wanted to upgrade and become stronger. And when I can pass Mr. Kalanster's challenge alone, I will go there by myself. It will definitely be very romantic and happy to be alone with him. Little roast, can't your husband satisfy you? But I want to say, please take me with you for this kind of thing. It's so funny. What are you thinking about when you're dead? Let's think about how to deal with Shadow. Nendi, I definitely can't beat him head on, but in novels, many martial arts masters died of poison. Can we think about how to start from this aspect? Good idea. Let's take the lead and discuss with other sisters to see where there is poison. Qinfeng was a little bit unbelievable when he listened to these women chatting. Poison. Good guy. This is just hitting my gun. Qinfeng sneered. The 6 dark wings of death behind him spread out, carrying him like an invisible shadow, quickly flying to the underground slaughterhouse where those people were. At this time, in the slaughterhouse, it was soon the turn of the 8 female players. Ladies, you all attacked together. The guards of the Shunhuo Nuan Guild, who were responsible for protecting this place, looked calm, but deep in their eyes, they seemed a little unhappy when looking at those rich ladies, because these guild elites fighting outside. The equipment they wear is only platinum grade, and even emerald grade is rare. But these rich ladies, just drinking tea in the hiding place, taking care of the children, also have a set of platinum equipment. They don't even have to do housework, because there are many mechanical maids in the hiding place, taking care of all the housework. How can these guild elites be convinced? What's more, there's an elite female player in the field, who is also the wife of a high-ranking member of the guild. However, she has been following her husband all the way to support each other, fighting monsters and leveling up. And now she is already level 19. Such elite female players naturally look down on these rich wives who do nothing. Of course, they didn't say much. After all, the husbands of these wives are the strongest people in the guild. The development of Shunhuo Nuan Guild to the present is inseparable from the first-tier strongmen, and this is undeniable. Just when the 8 wives wanted to release their skills to kill the controlled monsters in the field, suddenly, a figure with a white mask, covered by dark deathwings, appeared in the slaughterhouse without any warning. It was Qinfeng. His sudden appearance made everyone in the field unable to react. Some people didn't even notice that there was an extra person in the monster group, especially the 8 wives player, who didn't care at all and threw out various group attack skills. Boom, 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 thunder and lightning, flame, hail. Various skills fell on Qinfeng, and while killing the low-level monsters around him, they also attacked Qinfeng. Well, not bad. Qinfeng felt the attacks that fell on him, but had no effect on him, and his mouth curled up slightly. Although these people intended to poison Qinfeng, they hadn't done anything like that. If they were sent to the Judgment Land for trial, wouldn't it be a waste of resources? If they were allowed to attack me first and then sent in, would the trial yield more benefits? They are too low level and too weak. Even if they attacked me, I'm afraid there wouldn't be much benefit. Forget it. I don't want to think so much. I'll know after trying. Qinfeng's current Judgment Blade divinity limit has reached more than 500. It is very likely that there will be no benefit from judging these minions again. However, these women are already considering poisoning Qinfeng, so how could Qinfeng keep them? Compared to going offline to kill them all, it would be better to judge them directly, which would save trouble. When the group of monsters on the scene were killed, everyone in the slaughterhouse noticed Qinfeng, who suddenly appeared on the scene and was bombarded by others. Dark Shadow. When everyone saw Qinfeng's figure clearly, their faces changed. Every one of them knew Shadow well, but no one had ever seen him in person. Now, Shadow actually appeared in front of them in person. It was hard to expect anything good. Moreover, the attack of the 8 ladies just now directly hit Shadow. For a moment, everyone in the field was stunned. Only one person in charge of the Shunhuo Nuan Guild, Fengshen, immediately stood up with a nervous expression. Brother Shadow, what are you doing? Is there something you want us to do? This man was wearing the metal armor and carrying a Fengtian Huaji behind him, looking very brave. He was sensible. After all, he often ventured outside and knew that in this day and age, strength was everything. Although this underground slaughterhouse was the territory of their Shunhuo Nuan Guild, and all outsiders were usually prohibited from entering. But the other party was Shadow. Did he dare to say half a word of no? Qinfeng glanced at this man, then glanced at the nervous people in the field, and said lightly, "Don't be nervous. I just heard that someone here wanted to murder me with poison, so I came to see if it was true." As soon as these words came out, the faces of everyone in the field changed drastically, especially the 8 wives, including Nendi, because they were chatting in the team channel. How could Shadow hear it? How is it possible? It's not true. It's unfair. We didn't do it. The wives denied it nervously. Qinfeng laughed when he heard their denial. "No, I didn't say it was you. Why are you so nervous?" The 8 wives were silent for a moment. "However, someone told me that it was indeed you 8 who discussed in the team to poison me," Qinfeng said again, looking at one of the beautiful women with long hair tied into a bun. "What Miss Luo told me should not be wrong, right?" As soon as these words came out, the other 7 wives' faces changed drastically. They all looked at the beautiful woman surnamed Luo with unfriendly expressions. And the beautiful woman surnamed Luo was confused. She didn't say anything. The beautiful woman was a little flustered. "No, what are you looking at me for? I don't even know Shadow. How could I tell him about our chat?" Did the others tell him? A short-haired beautiful woman who looked very arrogant started to scold on the spot. "If not you, who is it? And you said Shadow doesn't know you. How do you know? Your last name is Luo." The beautiful woman surnamed Luo was also very puzzled, because her game code name had nothing to do with her name. How did Shadow know? Little did they know that Qinfeng could sense the content of their chat, and naturally he could also hear the way they addressed each other. Seeing the other party being so arrogant, Qinfeng smiled. "You guys are arguing so fiercely. It seems that you have admitted it, right?" The beautiful woman surnamed Luo was targeted by 7 people. Her eyes turned red, and she shouted in a hot head, "It's Nendi. It was her idea to use poison against you. I didn't participate at all." "Okay, the case is solved." Qinfeng smiled faintly, and then looked at the person in charge next to him, Fengshen brother. "They admitted that they wanted to poison me. Is it okay for me to defend myself?" The tough man, Fengxian, with a Fengtian Huaji on his back, had a smile that was uglier than crying. No problem." He really wanted to cry. With Shadow's strength, he could kill at will. But he had to confirm the target's evidence first and ask for his consent. Tears. Just when Qinfeng said this, the 8 wives were all stunned. They didn't expect that Shadow would easily divide them internally and confirm their crimes. Wait. Before they could react, Qinfeng's figure flashed across the field in an instant. And in less than 1 second, he killed 8 of them on the spot. The reason why he didn't spare any of them was because all 8 of them enthusiastically participated in the discussion about poisoning the Shadow. If anyone had expressed a different opinion, Qinfeng might not have killed them. This can also fully illustrate that birds of a feather flock together. People of different kinds are usually hard to play together. After killing the 8 wives, Qinfeng left the dark and bloody underground slaughterhouse invisibly. The group of people who stayed in the Shunhuo Nuan Guild all looked at each other in bewilderment and trembled a little. Because after the wives were killed, they were not able to revive. It must be the same as the room. They will never come back again. What scares the people in Shunhuo Nuan Guild, including the husbands of the wives, the most is that Shadow killed all 8 people in the end. It can be seen that no one is Shadow's inside. Didn't Shadow just kill the legendary boss in Sichuan and Shu? How come he suddenly came to our Sunan ruins? Hiss. Is Shadow everywhere? The key is that they are talking in the team channel, and Shadow can hear it. It's outrageous. Shadow turned the godforsaken game into a horror game by himself. I advise anyone who is dissatisfied with the shadows, stop. There are shadows everywhere. although Qinfeng killed the 8 wives. But their husbands, of course, dare not have any opinions. After all, Qinfeng might have the reasons for killing them clear before he took action. Soon, Qinfeng returned to the Evil Spirit Academy. Wang Yiwei sent a message and said with a helpless smile, "Master, you are a good person, and you have to find a reason to kill people." Qinfeng smiled. "Isn't this to reduce your workload? Otherwise, Shunhuonuan Guild will make trouble, and it will be a big deal." Wang Yiwei smiled, "But you are really good at talking. You made them admit it with just a few words. In fact, this kind of thing is not difficult. After all, women's circles, like the rich wives, are full of contradictions, and no one is willing to obey anyone. It is too easy to stir up conflicts among them." Then, Wang Yiwei continued the previous topic with Qinfeng about the awarding of the Great Xia Glory Medal. This is a measure to ensure that Qinfeng will not waste time on some inexplicable things, such as the Rose Flower Guild, and this time about the Winged NPC Support Association. After obtaining the Great Xia Glory Medal, when your rights are violated, you have the right to initiate any punishment against the other party, and the official will not ask. We will also make this matter public to ensure that everyone is aware of it, and if other people make great contributions to protecting Great Xia in the future, they can also get the Glory Medal. This is what Wang Yiwei said, and she came to ask Qinfeng's opinion. This is equivalent to giving Qinfeng a legal privilege. Anyone who offends Qinfeng can be dealt with at will, although, in fact, Qinfeng does not need such a privilege. After all, he can deal with anyone at will. But from a certain perspective, the official needs it. In this way, the people can also more truly realize that this era is an era where strength is king. It's okay. I don't have to use beef and cousin anymore. Qinfeng smiled. As for the treatment of the Rose Flower Guild, the first thing was to order the disbandment of the guild, and then to start clearing up the actions of each of their members. Although the Wildcat escaped death, she committed a serious crime of endangering the public, because the Sky Guild stated that when the Wildcat broke the barrier, she had been granted temporary access to the barrier in advance. That is to say, she didn't need to break the barrier. She could have entered the protection range of the barrier. Then her problem was very serious. So, the Wildcat was directly imprisoned in a prison with 100 times the life flow rate, and she might not be able to get out in this life. Lionfei had no objection to this way of handling. Just when he was about to enter the Land of Judgment and let the 8 wives of Nendi reunite with the winged man Kalanster, he received another message. The voice message came from Anu. The Dragon Swordsman girl was very excited, boss. Boss, Xiao Hei seems to have found the tomb of the skeleton god you were looking for. Qinfeng received this message with a somewhat subtle expression. Black Plum? It's her again. Amazing. Qinfeng was amazed. It's been a long time since I heard from Xiao Hei, but he came with a big one. Qinfeng couldn't help asking about the situation. After all, it is really difficult to find the entrance to the tomb of the God of Bones. According to Aristotle, the most important thing to find the tomb of the God of Bones is to find some giant human bones buried in the soil, and they must be in a kneeling posture. The entrance to the tomb of the God of Bones will only appear near multiple giant kneeling human bones. How can ordinary players find giant kneeling human bones without digging up the soil? Soon, Anu explained the situation a little, leaving Qinfeng a little speechless. It turned out that to the west of the ruins of Zhanghai City, more than 700 kilometers away, there is a violent area with 100 times the life flow rate. Jinji Mountain. One day, Black Plum Big Lizzie was passing by that area while on the road. She was originally riding her fluffy white goat, but suddenly, swish, her goat was gone. Not only did the white goat she was riding disappear, but the mount bell in her backpack turned into an unusable state. And there was also a system prompt. Your mount, White Cloud Goat, was abducted by Fanatical Eater Burgers Emerald level. Bear. Please kill the boss within 60 minutes, otherwise, your mount bell will be permanently invalid. It was an emerald level boss, and its stealth level was quite high. Black Plum Big Lizzie didn't notice the existence of the boss at all, and suddenly her mount was gone. Afterwards, she looked around and didn't see any trace of the boss at all. It's a pity that she is a mage, and although she has a little anti-stealth level, it's not much. She was so anxious that she could only find the cardmaster in the team to help her find it. After all, the cardmaster had learned the skill of Clear Vision Card, had an anti-stealth level of 8, and was relatively close to her. However, half an hour later, the cardmaster just came over. Swish. The big fat rabbit mount he was riding also disappeared all of a sudden, and the system also prompted him that his big fat rabbit was abducted by Crazy Eater Beegers. Even with an anti-stealth level of 8, he couldn't see through the target's invisibility. In the end, the two could only call the sharp-eyed shooter youth over. This youth had the highest anti-stealth level in the team, reaching a full level of 11. It was just when the sharp-eyed shooter youth came over, it had been an hour since Xiao Hei's goat mount was abducted. Then she heard the system prompt. Your mount, White Cloud Goat, was grilled by Crazy Eater. Beeger's Emerald level. Your mount bell is permanently invalid. Black Plum Big Plum cried. My sheep is gone. Or was it roasted? The girl was heartbroken. Fortunately, the sharp-eyed shooter's anti-stealth level finally allowed him to see through the guy who stole the mount. It was a sly little mouse man. However, this little mouse man only had 25,000 HP and did not look like an emerald level boss at all. Black Plum Big Plum, who had lost his mount, and the Cardmaster uncle did not think too much, and directly slaughtered the little mouse man on the spot. Then the system prompted. They killed the rats and descendants of fanatical eater Burgerus. Good fellow. This rat is just a subordinate summoned and sent by the Emerald Boss to kidnap the Mount. Let's go. Find the boss. The three of them are now quite powerful. Even if they are alone, they can fight the Emerald Boss for 300 rounds, so they split up. They kept searching in the Jinji Mountain. It didn't take long. They hadn't found the boss yet. And the bell of the Cardmaster's big fat rabbit mount was completely ineffective. Oh my god. The system prompts that my rabbit has been fried. The Cardmaster was furious. They have already cleared the land of the Diamond Boss, and a mere Emerald Boss actually fried his mount and ate it. How could he bear this? They searched for more than 2 hours. Finally, Black Plum Big Plum smelled the aroma of barbecue. Hey, it smells so good. The mage girl followed the smell of barbecued meat in the forest and finally came to a cave. After determining the location, she quickly called the sharp-eyed shooter and the Cardmaster uncle. Even Wang Meng, Gu Yixia, and Enyu came to support, and they had learned from the previous experience. They put away their mounts as soon as they approached the area, and they were not kidnapped. Soon, the strongest 6-man team in Zhanghai City, except Qinfeng Given, the strongest 6-man team in the country and even the world, gathered outside the cave where the Emerald-level boss was. They rushed in no time. They defeated the Emerald-level boss who was enjoying the delicious food. After a long time, it turned out that it was a Ratman boss, and it had an ability that as long as it could cook and eat the player's mount, it could give birth to many rats. In the process of the attack, Enyu and the others cleared thousands of rats, and it took nearly an hour to finally kill the boss. Woo woo woo! My sheep. My jade. In the end, Hey Bulin, Dalizzy only saw the skeleton of the white goat in the cave, and her mount bell had become ineffective. You know, this mount has been with her since the beginning. And girls are more sentimental. During this period, she had other mount bells, and she gave them to other people. Anyway, the speed of the mounts was not much different, and she didn't want to change unless necessary. But now, she had to change. Her goat was roasted and eaten by the boss. After killing the boss, Black Plum Big Lizzy still felt unsatisfied. She waved her staff and launched various fire explosion skills at the boss corpse. She just wanted to vent, but the cave was shaken by her explosion for a few times, and suddenly the surrounding walls cracked. Then, through the cracked mud wall, they saw what seemed to be yellowed bone structures in the rock layer. Under normal circumstances, they would not care too much. But Qinfeng had said before that he would ask the official to help find the tomb of the god of skeletons or something. So, Enyu took it seriously all of a sudden. Blast this cave open, at Enyu's command. Everyone worked together and finally blasted all the walls of the cave open. So they found that the cave they were in was indeed a giant skull covered by mud. They continued to dig down. Soon it was proved that the skull was indeed crawling on the ground, which was exactly the same as the kneeling posture Qinfeng said. Hearing what Enyu said, Qinfeng was silent. Crazy Foodie Burgers? Qinfeng had never heard of this thing in his previous life. It seems that for some reason, the monster spawning pattern of Blue Star is different from that of the previous life. Did some bosses that I didn't see in the previous life appear? Qinfeng guessed that he must have killed enough high-level bosses. As a result, the refresh speed of low-level bosses has also become faster. The legendary dead isopod that was dropped outside the Sichuan ruins not long ago came from this, but let's not talk about this for now. What really made Qinfeng speechless was the experience of Black Plum Big Plum. Although the mount was barbecued by the boss, I found the tomb of the god of skeletons by accident. Qinfeng can only say 6 times. This luck is unacceptable, since a giant kneeling human bone was found. The next task is simple. According to some information provided by Big Eyes, dig around the skull in a circle of 56 kilometers. When the second giant kneeling human bone is found, the specific location of the tomb can be calculated. Okay, I'll come in a while and bring some gifts for Xiao Hei, Qinfeng replied with a smile. Since the location of the tomb has been discovered, there is no need to rush. Qinfeng plans to solve some of the problems just now, such as the judgment of the 8 rich ladies of Nendi, and he also has to ask Ashashis what the soul connection is. So, Qinfeng returned to the place of judgment, and outside the ruins of Zhanghai, within the scope of Jinji Mountain. The 6 people in Enyu's team gathered together. The great god said he would come in a while. Hey Belin. Dalizzy was quite looking forward to it, but we are waiting anyway. Why not eat something? After saying that, she took out the Book of Divine Bestowal. Directly consume lifespan and make a roasted whole lamb. Woo! It smells so good. Enyu. Wang Meng and others were confused. Black Plum everyone. Eat. What are you waiting for? My sheep is dead. I have to taste it. Is that okay? Eating in the game can't fill your stomach, but it can satisfy your cravings. The Cardmaster uncle was helpless. Then do I have to make a stir-fried rabbit? This thing is not in our Zhanghai City's Divine Book. It seems that next time I have to go to the Sichuan ruins to get a Divine Book of Sichuan cuisine, the place of judgment. When Qinfeng returned, the 8 wives, including Nendi, also came back to their senses. They were still shouting, "No, no," just now. In the blink of an eye, they died. It went dark before their eyes, and when they opened their eyes again, they found that they had come to a white jade maze emitting a hazy glow. We were killed by the shadow. Where is this place? The place of judgment. What's going on? Even if they were killed, they should be resurrected, right? They were crying one by one. At this moment, Qinfeng's voice rings in their ears. Why are you crying? Don't you like that winged man? I sent you to see it, and you don't even know how to say thank you. Oh, by the way, you may not know where the winged man came from. Let me show you a memory first. Qinfeng played the relevant memory about the wingman Clanster, recorded by the light and shadow crystal above the white jade maze. Let them watch first. Qinfeng ignored them and turned to Ashashi's. He took out the soul harvester white bud blade in his hand and turned the dagger in his hand Shishi. This guy applied for a soul connection with me. What is this soul connection? Ashashi smiled when she heard it. Her pale golden eyes glanced at the dagger in Qinfeng's hand. Then she gently raised her bare hand and gently pressed it on Qinfeng's shoulder. Soul connection, as the name suggests, allows you to communicate at the soul level. Generally speaking, there will be no negative impact. But although she has only possessed the servant seal, she has also been in contact with the power of the soul. Maybe there is some means to spy on your thoughts. Here, I will give you a layer of soul protection to ensure that your soul will not be spied on in any way. Soul protection. Qinfeng couldn't help but complain in his heart. After all this time, I still have to rely on a protective film to communicate with this Baiya. Isn't this the opposite of Tiangang? Qinfeng sighed. As Ashasis released her skills, Qinfeng felt that the hand pressing on his shoulder conveyed a warm feeling. It seemed that there was a power spreading throughout his body, but after a careful feeling, he didn't feel anything. There was not even a system prompt. Obviously, this is an extremely unusual method, if even there is no system prompt. Doesn't this mean that the level of this method is even higher than the godforsaken game? Is it possible that it bypassed the original agreement? Qinfeng couldn't help but sigh. It's great to have someone behind you, and if Ashasis, who has this method, is disadvantageous to Qinfeng has no resistance at all. So, for now, whether Qinfeng trusts Ashasis or not, he can only follow the path she arranged for the time being. At this moment, although Qinfeng didn't hear any system prompts, he clearly felt that there was a layer of invisible energy around him, protecting himself. This is what Ashasis called soul protection. This thing cannot be observed with the naked eye at all. It is something at the soul or consciousness level, because it is too advanced. Qinfeng has no way to study it. He only knows. After he confirmed with Ashasi, he can finally establish a soul connection with the white bud blade with confidence. Then come on. Qinfeng was looking forward to establishing contact with this female player, Bai Ya. After all, this female player came from a civilization called Haitianxing. She once obtained the power of the soul, although it was only at the level of servant seal. It was also at the same level as Qin Wuyun. If he could communicate with her, maybe he could learn more about the land of order. So, Qinfeng spoke a word in the ancient divine language, and asked the white bud blade in his hand to initiate the application for soul connection. As soon as he heard Qinfeng's ancient divine language, the white bud blade in his hand suddenly became excited. 5, 6, 7 or 8 applications were sent to Qinfeng. Is it necessary to be so excited? Anfeng had a headache. This Baiya seemed to have a bit of a temper. Faced with the other party's soul connection application, Qinfeng chose agree this time. Finally, Qinfeng could feel that he had established a soul connection with the Baiya blade in his hand. This feeling was amazing. He found that he could directly pass the thoughts in his mind to Baiya without the need for language conversion. Is this the convenience of soul communication? Qinfeng had never tried this feeling. However, the soul connection between him and Baiya was obviously only superficial. Not all thoughts would be communicated. Instead, it was necessary to select the information to be communicated before it would be conveyed to the other party. In other words, Qinfeng and Baiya did not know what they were thinking, just like chatting across a screen. It seems that there can be in-depth communication at the soul level. This in-depth communication is a bit scary, Qinfeng thought to himself. Once the communication is in-depth, both sides will convey all their thoughts to each other without reservation. Perhaps, the Soul Emperor controls the power of the soul and can unilaterally collect all the thoughts of all believers. If so, it is still very scary. Suddenly, Qinfeng was still thinking. He felt that Baiya sent him a series of soul-level information through soul communication. Ha ha ha! This lady finally came out. 500 years. 500 years. Do you know how I spent these 500 years? Little brother, come and communicate with this lady. Otherwise you will be suffocated to death. Feeling a series of soul information from Baiya, Qinfeng was a little speechless. He replied, "You are the little brother? Your whole family is the little brother." Baiya! Little brother, don't be angry, alas. This lady is just a pitiful weapon, and you are still on guard against me everywhere, which is too unkind. This layer of membrane on your body is really blinding. Qinfeng was a little curious. Can you see it? Baiya, this lady, is the descendant of the Soul Emperor after all. And I know everything about the soul level. Qinfeng, okay? Considering that you are an old witch who has been imprisoned for 500 years. I won't care about your name. Baiya. Qinfeng said straightforwardly. Okay. Stop talking nonsense. Tell me your basic situation. What your Haitianxing civilization is like, and why you were turned into a weapon. Baiya want to know? Give me some life. My life is almost gone. Qinfeng, how much do you want? Baiya made a random number. Let's start with 1. 8 million years. Qinfeng was choked on the spot. Mr. Du. Baiya, you are an heir to power. You can't even have 8 million years of life, right? Why are you so miserable? Qinfeng was a little speechless. If this develops for a while, he can take out these lifespans. But why give it to her? Just a weapon. How can it cause such a big fuss? So, Qinfeng sneered, I have only been in the game for more than a month, and my lifespan is not that long. Now that you are in my hands, I advise you to be obedient. Baya didn't believe it at all. Just more than a month. Who are you kidding? In more than a month? You used me to deal hundreds of millions of damage? Do you think I am so easy to fool? As Qinfeng's weapon, she can naturally perceive how much damage she has dealt, but she doesn't know about the situation outside Qinfeng. After all, she is just a weapon and has no additional perception ability. She didn't even know that there was Ashasi's next to Qinfeng. Otherwise, her attitude might have taken a 360-degree turn. And for Qinfeng, the main thing is to get more information from her. Qinfeng, I don't care whether you believe it or not. In short, you should answer my questions, Qinfeng said, while squeezing the handle of the dagger heavily. At this moment, Baya could feel a message of shame and anger coming from her soul. Don't pinch there. Qinfeng, he, what's wrong with me pinching there? He asked with a sneer, and pinched a few more times. A few minutes later, the Dagger Sister was accurately grasped by Qinfeng, and finally began to tell a pitiful story. Heixing civilization is an ascending civilization. I was born in a poor family at the bottom. Both my parents are only in their 20s, and when I was 5, my mother was backstabbed to death by a friend while she was out leveling. When I was 8, my father was backstabbed to death while he was out fighting a boss. So what I hate most in my life is assassins. Fortunately, when I was 8, I finally awakened my legendary talent, and when I chose a random profession, I randomly got the only hidden profession, Soul Blade. Assassin. So good. It feels so good to backstab someone. Next, I entered the primary battle academy, and it was here that I met someone who influenced my life. When the information was transmitted here, she paused. Qinfeng subconsciously asked who. Baya, the following is VIP content. Brother needs to recharge to continue listening. Qinfeng, how about I view 50 years of life? Baya, woo woo woo. Brother. After I became a weapon, the basic lifespan elapsed at a rate of 10 million times, and this is still in dormant state. Now if I want to communicate with you, it will consume 1,000 times more, and I will consume more than 300 years of life every second. Qinfeng, I recharged you 8,000 years of life, but I can only listen to you for less than 5 minutes. This is even darker than the Twisted Vine. Okay, then shut up. I can't afford it. Qinfeng threw the dagger into the greedy space directly. First of all, no one knows whether what Baya said is true. Maybe she is making it up. Secondly, Qinfeng is not stupid. You have to consume more lifespan to communicate with me. So what does that have to do with me? It seems that we have to take time to convince her and make her obedient. It doesn't matter. There is a long way to go. Just at this time, most of the memories about the winged man Kalanster have been played above the White Jade Maze. In the Birdman's memory scene, there are many scenes of cannibalism and cooking, and from the Birdman's memory, it can be clearly seen that in the eyes of this Birdman, the human race is completely inferior animals in its world. It regards all human races as livestock. Impossible. Mr. Kalanster is not such a person. He is so gentle and polite. That's right. How can such a gentleman be so vulgar and barbaric? This must be slandering Mr. Kalanster. Listening to the remarks of the ladies of Nendi, Qinfeng felt a headache. Sure enough, such people will not change their minds even if the facts are in front of them. Forget it. I can't afford to offend you. Originally, Qinfeng was still thinking whether someone would regret and repent after reading the Birdman's memory. As a result, he found out he was too naive. Of course, Qinfeng was too lazy to argue with them. At their level, Qinfeng would be a big winner if he even looked at them more. With a wave of his hand, he judged. Qinfeng checked the system prompt. The gains from this trial can be said to be negligible. The leader, Nendi, brought him 3 points of divinity limit, and the other women only gave him 2 divinity limits, which added up to just over 0.1. This is the case when they attack me. If they don't attack me, wouldn't it be completely useless to judge people of this level? Qinfeng nodded, knowing what was going on. Let's go and see the tomb of the God of Bones. Before leaving, Qinfeng took a look at the reincarnation illusion experienced by Nendi and the other 8 women. He found that the 8 women were all sent to a tower of divine power, and inside the tower was the winged man, Kalanster. When they entered the tower of divine authority alone and faced the winged man, they were confused at first, and then surprised Mr. Kalanster, save me. However, the originally polite wingman Kalanster suddenly changed his face, raised his hand, and cut off their arms with a sword. Disgusting. Too disgusting. Low-class human, if I hadn't been exiled to Blue Star. And this Blue Star is your human territory. How could I cater to you humans so much? And your hand? The meat is too old. It's not even qualified to be my food. Hearing these words, the faces of the tender butterfly women all changed drastically in their respective illusions. Watching the Birdman approach, help. Don't come over here. It's a pity that they will be reincarnated in this scene endlessly from now on. Forever being killed by the winged man, Kalanster they love. Killing is not enough. They were also mocked for being too old. It can be said that they killed people. As for whether they regret it, perhaps they still think that these are all fake, and that the shadow is smearing their favorite winged man, Kalanster. But what does that have to do with Qinfeng? Enjoy it slowly. Qinfeng quickly dealt with these and left the place of judgment. teleported to the ruins of Zhanghai City, flew to the Jinji Mountain area where Anyu and others were. Before leaving, Qinfeng also found some things from the storage box of the Evil Spirit Academy, intending to compensate Heiblin, Dalizzy, and others. After all, their goats were gone. When Osiris drove Qinfeng to the mountain area where Anyu and others were, Osiris stopped outside the cave and immediately became curious. Hey, what smells so good? Qinfeng closed his eyes and felt it for a while, then decided to tease the dragon well. It's a roasted whole lamb. It's confirmed that her mount was made into a barbecue. Osiris. Mount. Barbecue. Osiris, oh my god. This keyword is too scary for the dragon, right? Qinfeng got off the mount and patted its paws. Don't worry. You don't have any meat, so it's not your turn to roast the whole dragon. Osiris burst into tears. Sorry that I was in the car all day today. So the update is late. I started writing before I had dinner when I got home, but I made it in time. Happy holidays, everyone.